When have you used your techniques in your life? About channeling attention. All the time. Basically, I never suggest anything, I never teach anything if I don't do it myself. So everything I suggest is something I use, and attention techniques help me a lot. So sometimes I have to perform and I'm not always in the mood to perform. Couple of times I had to play and I was very ill, so I had a high fever, and obviously my head wasn't functioning well. And at these points I use technique especially, and I know what to do when I prepare myself. But with piano yoga, I use it on a daily basis. This is something I do. There's certain exercises, so I live by those rules. Basically, they're part of my life, and they're very, very easy to use. By the way, there's nothing major here. How can sound coloring help me? From Eddie, because we are going to do workshop on sound coloring technique. Eddie, if you play on an acoustic instrument, it's definitely is going to help you. And I'm going to give you a little exercise for those who are watching. I can see that a few people joined in, and you would understand why. So it's very rather than just talking. So exercises which I developed, they are very useful for piano players. However, this exercise is useful for players of any instrument. So stage one, what we do, you put a hand, if you're a piano player, on your kneecaps, and then you lift it. So that's kind of a position how you have it when you play the piano. But instead of having your hands on the keyboard, try to have your hands like you're holding a ball. So those who are watching me right now, if you are not driving or you're not somewhere, basically if you're comfortable doing what you're doing, try that. So you hold your hands like you're holding a ball, and now bring your attention to the bottom part of your finger. It's called proximal phalanx. And what I want you to do, I want you to engage them for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and release. Could you feel it? If some of you are doing it, please do write, because I can see some of your messages here. Let's try again. So you engage the bottom part of the fingers, and we engage it for the count of 4 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and release. And we're going to do it one more time and hold it for a count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's stage 1 in this exercise. So what it does, I explain to you. First of all, it's strengthening this part of the finger, which I call proximal phalanx. Second of all, it's train your brain to be connected with different parts of the fingers. And thirdly, it teaches you how tense and release the muscle, because when you play, you know that you can't really be tensed all the time. So here we are tensing the fingers. There's no muscles in the fingers, but still we are the tissue, everything we are tensing and releasing. Then you do exactly the same with the tips of your fingers. So now let's just try quickly. Thank you. I can see Vashti. Hi Vashti. I can see you doing it. So now try to bring your attention to the tips of your fingers and connect, engage only the tips of your fingers. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and release. So the sensation would be slightly different. You still tense in the rest. So medically speaking, you can't just tense this part and not this, but you are operating on a different level. And so you have to do the same with the tips, and you would have to do the same with the medium phalanx, medium part of the finger, which some people find more difficult. And again, just to repeat what it does, it trains your brain to contact, to talk to your fingers. It also will strengthen your fingers. If you do it for 21 days, it definitely is. I had a student who was a professional teacher. He never had time to practice, but one day he came and he played his piece beautifully, very difficult piece. And he told me, I said, finally you practice. And he said, no, I was doing those on a bus stop. So these fingers, this exercise will make your fingers very strong, and whether you play guitar or any other instruments, they're very useful. In terms of piano playing, the reason why I'm talking about it, and again, I am not sure about the quality of sound live, but if I was playing Mozart, for example, I would use more the tip of the finger technique. So the sound would be like something like, so very, very thin, very beautiful sound. If I was dancing the middle part of the fingers, I would use it more maybe for playing something like Rachmaninoff. So when you need kind of earthy sound, something like this. Etc. So this way I would use the middle fingers. And for the bottom fingers, almost everything. You can start from a scale, because try to play just a scale, or something like Bach. It gives you that crisp clarity. So by using different parts of the fingers, that is a very long answer to the question of Eddie. That's how using different coloring techniques can really help you, and therefore you can produce different sound on a piano. And obviously that's all we want, to produce different sound, because through sound, this is how a human ear first reacts to sound and then to anything else.